Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Can you guess what? I have one subscriber, which is pretty cool because that's still one person who was like, that's a cool chick. I kind of want to subscribe to her and watch her video. Today, my story is going to be about my ex-boyfriend who murdered somebody because, you know, that's like a thing. The only other thing I'm going to say is I am changing everybody's name. I don't want a defamation of character lawsuit being put on me. I don't have time for that. It's just easier to not do it that way. So, I'll go ahead and tell you that Jason is my ex-boyfriend. And we got together when he was 16 and I was 17. I actually met him through my best friend at the time. She used to ride the bus home together. And one day I decided to go to her house and hang out with her. And that's where I met him. And I was like, dude, that guy's pretty cute. Like, he's blonde. He has really pretty blue eyes. He's got a cute face. Like, he's cute. And she told me, she was like, you don't want to be with him. He has a lot of issues. He's, you know, on drugs sometimes he's not. And I'm like, I could fix him because, you know, we all think we can fix them. I can fix him. I want that one. Out of all of them, I want that one. So me and him ended up dating for a little bit. We got together. She thought it was weird. His mom was like okay with it, but at the same time, she was kind of like, I don't know if you should be with him. So I met him the last couple months of the school year. So by the time I knew it, it was summer vacation. During the summer, I ended up dropping out because I was so far behind in credits because I dropped out originally to take care of my mom before she passed that there was just no way I was going to be able to graduate anyways. And to be honest, I wasn't really doing good in school. My GPA was like a 0.0023, something like that. It was super low. I didn't do anything. So I ended up dropping out. It was summer. I got a job. My home life sucked, and his mom knew that. And so she was like, you know, why don't you go ahead and move in here? We have an extra spare bedroom. You pay me $300 a month, and we'll call you good. I said, okay, cool. So I move out, and I move in. I'm in the spare bedroom, but we're still dating. And everything kind of took a turn when I moved in. I found out that his mom was bipolar and he had inherited being bipolar from her. So that means that he had up days and he had down days. And I noticed that pretty quick. But I chose to stay with him because I was really happy I wasn't living with my dad. And because, you know, I thought that I loved him. So I stayed with him. One night we are hanging out on his front porch and Mark comes walking down the street and he's like, yo bro, why are you walking down the street? And I look at him and I'm like, who's Mark? Mark was his older sister's ex-boyfriend and he didn't like him. Now mind you, Mark had zero reason to be on the street. It was a small little side street off of another small little side street, so there was really no reason he needed to even be walking by. I feel like, yes, he was looking for trouble. So before I can even kind of walk over there, Jason socks Mark in the face so hard that like his nose is just bleeding all over the floor. And I'm still friends with Mark to this day. His nose is messed up. It is so crooked. And somehow, some way, Mark didn't call the cops, probably because he knew he shouldn't have been walking by to begin with. So he was let off. But that was one night that I realized, okay, this guy has some major anger issues. And then I also noticed it a little bit after that when we would be sleeping together, if you get my drift. He had this habit of choking me. Now, it wasn't the kind of choking that's leaving marks on my neck and I can't breathe. But it was definitely firm choking, and he didn't respect the fact that I wasn't into it. And then that's another reason why I was like, this guy's a little weird. And then there was this one time when we were walking back from this little hamburger stand, and some random guy like threw a milkshake at us. And all of a sudden he turns around and he just starts stomping out this tree. Mind you, it's not a big tree. It's like a little tree that they put in that they're hoping is going to get bigger at some point. You know, it still has the little like plastic rings around it to make sure that it stays up straight in the wind. So it wasn't a big tree. But he is like stomping it out to where it's flat on the ground. And I was like, yeah, this dude has some major anger issues. Like, this is weird. This is just too much. I don't know if I can be with someone like that. What if he hits me? I don't want to get hit. But again, I stayed with him. But then his mom ended up going through this weird bipolar mood where she suddenly hated me, and so she kicked me out. And by then, it's like I told myself, well, I'm not really at home very much. I'm working my butt off. I think at that time I was working like 60 hours a week, just trying to make money because I wanted to save up and get my own place because it was a weird situation. So I just, went ahead and moved back in with my dad. Thought to myself, I'm never home anyways. And then I found out maybe 3 months later that he was cheating on me with a 12-year-old girl. And at this point in time, I'm 18 and he's 17. And I just told him, I'm like, that's weird. Number one, you're cheating on me, and that's totally not okay. I'm not going to accept that. And number two, you're 17 and you're sleeping with a girl who just turned 12. That's weird. As he said, it's not illegal. I know it's not illegal, but it's creepy. It's very, very, very creepy. But what do you do? And that's when I broke it off. And I told myself, I can do better. I'm going to do better. I refuse to be in a relationship with somebody who's going to treat me like this and who's going to sleep with a little girl. And I went along with my life. Everything was fine. I chose not to ever be with him again, which, I'm sure nobody can blame me for wanting to do that. Well, he ended up staying with her for a while, I think. And then I think they broke up. So about 2 years later, I'm at my dad's house and I'm taking out the trash. And here's Jason just standing outside of my house. And I'm like, hi, Jason, what's up? And he's like, oh, hey, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. Why are you here? He's like, oh, I'm gonna go to Oregon and I just kind of wanted to come say hi and tell you I really enjoyed our relationship and I hope you're gonna be doing good and I'm excited about going to Oregon. And I was like, okay, you seem like you're on meth. Because that was another issue that we had in our relationship. He did a lot of drugs, a lot. His favorite drug of choice was meth. And if you're from Hemet, that's everybody's favorite drug. I thought to myself, he's high, there's something wrong. He was just acting really weird and he kept saying can I come in? And I told him, I'm like, no dude, I got a boyfriend and my dad's gonna be home soon and he's not a particular fan of you, so you should probably not come in. He's like, come on, just let me come in real quick. And I was like, nah. Something in my stomach just said it's not a good idea. Don't come in. Don't let him come in. So I went ahead, shooed him away finally after probably 20 minutes of him just repeating the same things. And I wasn't sure if I got the weirdo vibe because I wasn't with him anymore and he had always been like that, or if he was just being extra, extra weird. Still don't know to this day. But he went ahead and went to Oregon from what I'm aware of. And about a week later, I start hearing things about this guy named Butch. And I didn't really know Butch. I only knew of Butch because of Jason. And Jason used to tell me, he's like, yeah, he's a child molester. And Butch, he does stuff to little kids and he gives them drugs in exchange. And I always told him, I'm like, what are you talking about? Why do you think that he does this? Those are some huge accusations to be saying about some dude. So, he used to tell me all these kind of things like, oh, he's a creep, he's weird. And I'm like, okay, dude, whatever, you seem a little methed up yourself, so I'm not gonna believe you. But I did know that he did a lot of meth, and, I just thought, no, he's an old fat man in a wheelchair. Really, what's gonna happen? What's the worst that he could do? And I'll tell you, Jason just never liked him. So back to the story, everybody keeps saying, hey, Butch was murdered. He was murdered in his house. Never thought that anything was related to Jason at the time. And I'm like, what do you mean he was somebody just murdered him? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, well, are you sure he didn't die? Again, he was kind of old. He did a lot of meth. You sure it wasn't natural causes, OD, whatever you want to call it? And I know that's not a natural cause, but you sure? They're like, no, it was full-blown murder. They're like, dude. So somebody went into his house and they took a vacuum cord and they wrapped it around his neck and they strangled him and then they tipped him over in his wheelchair and they stomped him out, and his boot print is in Butch's face. You can see the boot print. And I'm like, no way, are you serious? Like, that's crazy, dude. They're like, yeah, I don't know like who did it or what, but they're looking for somebody. So later, they come to find out that Jason went ahead and confessed to his friend's grandpa and said, like, yo, I killed Butch, and I'm gonna go run to Oregon. So he, being the person that he is, reported it after he had found out that Butch was dead, because he thought he was just high. He thought he was just all messed up and, you know, was hallucinating because he had been up too long, and, you know, paranoid thoughts. If you know anything about meth, you know, people get weird. And so he had reported him to the police. So I think Jason, like, killed Butch. And they did the investigation, and they found out that indeed he did. Now, there ended up being this whole page dedicated to Jason, saying that Butch had molested him when he was younger, and that he would make him do sexual favors for meth, and that was his alibi. So let me be clear in telling you that what I'm bringing up is nothing that the police officers don't know, that is not public knowledge. But that was his excuse for murdering him. I guess in his cloudy haze of being high, I guess Butch needed to pay for what he had done. No other boys or girls have ever come out and testified that Butch had done anything to them. So at this point, nobody really knows what's true. But I think it's interesting how all of a sudden the criminal can then become the victim. Like, did Butch do that? Because I do remember him talking about Butch and talking about how nasty he was and bringing up all of that stuff. So, like, was it justified if he really did that to him? Obviously, I'm going to disagree. You know, I think that he should have went to the police, and he should have went to the police sooner. But I also know that Jason was very, very bipolar, and Jason probably didn't want to get in trouble for doing the sexual favors for the drugs if that's really what happened. So I understand, but again, I don't understand. You don't take another person's life. That's not okay. Especially if he didn't do that, if he just made that up. But then thinking about it, what other reason would he have? Why else would he want to kill him? Was it a drug deal gone bad? Apparently there was another person involved, and they tried to blame it on said other person. The other person was let off scot-free. There was no charges against him. So I don't know if there were two witnesses, if there was just one and this other person was just pulled in. A lot of things haven't really been released, but I will tell you that he is doing okay. He's in prison right now. He's serving another, I think it's 2.5 years now. I'm still friends with his sister, and she likes to give me updates every once in a while, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to know. Believe it or not, he actually married the 12-year-old. She married him in prison a couple years ago, so, I mean, I wish them the best of luck. Obviously, I'm married. I have 2 kids. I'm not interested in ever being with him again, so I wish him all the luck. And I really hope that the judicial system did their part in giving him the correct sentence for what he did. I don't know how long he's serving altogether. I want to say it's 7 years. But I guess we'll never know the truth. All we have is one side and the person who passed away. So I know it was all over the place, and I'm going to do my best to edit it. So one thing you're going to have to learn about me is my videos are probably going to be all over the place quite a bit because I'm all over the place. I don't know if it's ADD, I don't know what it is, but I cannot stick to one subject. It's a terrible, terrible habit. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Go ahead and give it a like if possible, and please subscribe. Like I said, I have 1 subscriber, which is kind of pretty cool. So if you liked it, stick around. Thanks, bye.